right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. And today, we just want to talk about a little about the word coveting and just covetousness. Covetousness leads to death. The name of the lesson today, covetousness leads to death. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because oftentimes in life there are things which are desired that really are not essential to our survival. Some things that we want and lust after or desire is really not needed for us to actually function in this world. So throughout the scriptures, there are many times when those nations, of our nations especially, are guilty of coveting to the point that it resulted in the death of others. Today we will speak about some examples of coveting in an attempt to edify that we may be able to help others get rid of this spirit. Soon we will all be without as we draw near to the end. And we saw that we was in Tabernacles, how we really were at the basics of survival. And you really realize how much you can take others' presence or just how spirits will come against you in those days. And that's for sure when we were out there in the wilderness and basically having a cloud of the Most High over us the whole time, raining on and basically baptizing us on a daily basis, it seemed like. He was trying. He was trying to see what we were. And at the end, he was like, all right, I've seen enough. Let me get y'all a good day and get out of there. So soon as we get close to this end, we're going to see more of the spirit come out. This reality makes it even more important that we address the topic so that we can all avoid the wicked inventions of the mind in the perilous times ahead, because covetousness actually goes into imaginations. You'll start making up stuff that's not actually true. So coveting was the main downfall of our nation. Once we break it down, you'll start seeing that coveting was a major downfall of our nation. Let's first, though, before we go into any of the scriptures, let's go into like what does covet even mean? Because we have it. It's in the commandments. We read it today in Exodus, right? But what does covet even mean? The same word. So for those who are brand new, we're about to talk about the Strong's Concordance. It's like an encyclopedia for the Bible, dictionary for the Bible. Basically, in the Old Testament, you're going to have your Hebrew side, which is what your Bible's been written in and translated to. And on the other side, you're going to have the Greek. So we're going to go into the Hebrew side. This is the Old Testament. Just using the word covet, which is kamad. All right, kamad, or C-H-A-M-A-D, spelled in English, right? And this is the definition. This is what they break it down when you say, thou shalt not covet in the Old Testament. And we're talking about as far as your commandments go. So kamad says to delight in, beauty, greatly beloved, covet, a delectable thing, great, delight, desirable, goodly, lust, be a pleasant thing or a precious thing. So that's covet. Covet can mean all those things. It can mean to greatly beloved. It also could mean to lust after or to desire greatly, but with your heart, with the heart of your flesh, not necessarily the spirit in that sense. So thou shalt not covet, that applies. So let's go to 1 John 2 and 14. Because this was laid out plainly. And if you talk about coveting, you're talking about who began the coveting in the beginning. Who started that? And we're about to talk about it. And you'll see how our people fell into those traps over and over again. Covenant could be anything. It could be, we'll break down the commandment itself. But covenant may feel like it's not something that applies to you, but it for surely applies to just about everybody to some level. So 1 John 2 and 14.
Read the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 14. I have written unto you, fathers, because you have known him that is from the beginning.
So I have written unto you, fathers, because you have known him that is from the beginning. Keep going.
I have written unto you, young men, because ye are strong, and the word of Ahia abideth in you, and ye have overcome the wicked one.
And you have overcome the wicked one. All right, keep going.
Love not the world.
So love not the world. All right, okay.
Neither the things that are in the world.
Neither the things that are in the world. All right, what else?
If any man love the world.
If any man loves the world.
The love of the Father is not in him.
The love of the Father is not in him. What is loving the world? Next verse.
For all that is in the world.
So not some that's in the world, but all. This is what everything's wrapped up in when it comes to living in the flesh. When you're talking about Galatians 5. All that's in the world. The what?
The lust of the flesh.
The lust of the flesh.
And the lust of the eyes.
That's two things, okay? So the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Keep going, pride of life.
And the pride of life
And the pride of life, okay,
is not of the Father,
is not of the Father,
but is of the world.
but is of the world. Keep going.
And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But
And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. So this is a temporary thing. If you're dealing in this portion of life, you're dealing with something that's not going to last forever. You're dealing with something that another being held fast to get our people to fall. Keep going.
all right, but he that doeth the will of Ahia abideth forever.
But he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. Now let's go see the example of this. What was it? Lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes,
Pride of life.
and pride of life. What are those things? We're going to go to Genesis chapter 3, 1 and 6. This is Genesis chapter 3, 1 and 6. Because that lust of the flesh, that lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is tricky. You use your eyes to see things, right? You know? It garners some of your decisions. The flesh was needed for the body. But it could be in some wicked turns. So lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and that pride of knowing, or being in, you'll see, want to know it all. Dangerous. Folks covered after it. I can't see how. In Scripture plainly says, look, the least you know, the better off you are. You want to know it all? You're going to be held by that. Too much is given, much is required. So to go digging for things that might be above what you need to see, opening yourselves up to being held to those standards. If you're the smart student in class and you have all the answers, when the test comes, you better have them all too. Or what happens? You get a bad grade, but you're not being tested by a teacher in a class. You're getting tested by the creator of all things. And to be with him, you must ace the test. Let's go to Genesis 3.
All right. This is Genesis 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle.
And we know that serpent, right? You know what the serpent represented. All right, keep going.
Was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, had Ahia said, You should not eat of every tree in the garden?
Still questioning, again, there's already a commandment put forth of what not to do in the garden. Here comes somebody from the side. Well, maybe. I hear him. Keep going.
Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden,
Mm-hmm.
but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Ahia has said, You should not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, unless you die.
All right.
And the serpent said unto the woman, You should not surely die.
And the serpent says unto the woman, after she gives the commandment given right directly from the Father, You shall not surely die. Keep going.
For Ahia do know that in that day you eat thereof, then your eyes should be open, and you should be as gods.
So the days you eat it, you're going to know what we know. That was attractive. To know what we know. Right? Be on the level of gods. You want to know all about everything? Even things you don't understand. You want me to give that to you? That's what they've been hiding from you. To know it all. Keep going.
Knowing good and evil.
Knowing good and evil. Knowing both sides. Right? But check this out. Because we just read in 1 John. What all in the world is. This stuff happens from the beginning. There's nothing under the sun changed. Keep going.
And the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
Lust of the eyes, right? Well, lust of the flesh. Because, again, it's to nourish the stomach. That's one. And what else?
And that it was pleasant to the eyes.
Lust of the eyes, right? It was good looking. Everything looks good on the outside. It smells good, tastes good, looks good. And what else?
And a tree to be desired to make one wise.
The tree to be desired. Coveted. A coveted thing that people desire to have. To know everything. And to know more than the next one. To the tree to be desired to make one wise. So the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life started at the very beginning. Because Christ said, all in the world, lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, the pride of life. To make one wise, and what else?
She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also to her husband with her, and he did eat it.
So the desire to make one wise. Again, that is a word that's strictly out of what we read in the concordance when we read about coveting. The lust of that flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Lust as well. So all coveting is covered under all those things. It don't just have to be sexual. It don't have to be, money or anything. It could just be just to want it, and it's not for you. Or it's taking your heart away from the Most High. Let's go to Deuteronomy 5:21. This is the same verse that you read in Exodus. Same verse. Because we're going to read this before we preface the story of one of our brothers falling because of this coveting nature. Just one example. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Keep that in your memory as you walk out of here. That's the 3 prongs. That's that 3-headed monster.
Yep.
When I think about, who was that, when the movie is coming out, Godzilla, they got a dragon with 3 heads. And all I can think of is all in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and pride of life, the 3-headed monster. Mm-hmm. Keep that in your mind. That's the one.
All right, we in Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 21. Neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife.
Neither thou shalt desire thy neighbor's wife.
Neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house.
Neither thou shalt covet thy neighbor's house.
His field.
His field.
Or his manservant.
His manservant.
Or his maidservant.
Or his maidservant.
His ox.
His ox.
Or his ass.
And here's the most important, because you read all of those, pointed definitions. Yeah, I can't talk, I wanted to covet my neighbor's wife. I want to covet his house, his field, his manservant, his maidservant, his ox, his ass. But what's the last part that covers it? Because it's just like when Paul says, or anything else that needs to be covered under this falls under here. What's the last part?
Or anything.
Or anything.
That is in thy neighbor.
It could be anything your neighbor has. That desire that you have for it, not saying that you don't see it, have an idea because somebody else has something, but you're using that desire to drive you, and that's your sole purpose for moving and living and breathing. Or maybe you want theirs. And when you start to want theirs specifically, because maybe it's a one of a kind, you don't see that wherever it is. What if you don't find it anywhere else? That can drive you to some awful imaginations of the mind, which those imaginations can turn to some awful actions of the heart. We're going to see an example here. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Because again, our people would have felt for this from Eve's time on. It's not a game. The playbook for Satan, Lucifer, does not change. The playbook against our flesh does not change. It's the same playbook. Every time. And he's not going to stop trying to use it until it stops working. So obviously it's working. Hook, line, and sinker for our people. We want to have things that aren't ours. We want equal rights here. We want to be like everybody else. We just had a discussion earlier about you're not like everybody else, whether you like it or not. He says you're a chosen people out of all nations. But that's not just like a physical, I'm sorry, that's not just a spiritual thing. You're looking at, oh, yeah, we're a chosen people. Like, you're physically different. And some of these brothers heard it earlier today when we were talking in a group. Physically, you're different. And if you want to prove it in science, they will tell you in some of these places, they won't publish it. They won't tell you, but you're physically different. And in spirit. Because there was stuff that we were reading just about water. Before we go into the story, just about water. And how the stuff that's been put in the water that they uniformly put for the rest of the world, just about every nation has it, affects you specifically, Israel. And only you. And they have the science to back it up that you're different. It's out there. These last, what you want to call them, the last date, they're putting it all out there. You want to be like everybody else, but that's not the contract. You're not like everybody else. You will never be that way. And because you're continuing to be contrary to that, they got to remove you. So that's why you have, all the things that are happening, what they happen now. Different world now. People are realizing these people just aren't the same. And that's why we got to start focus on things like within our heart, coveting. Didn't know that was a problem? Pride. Is that an issue? Yeah. Our people's sole, reason to be up in arms with the world right now is, I feel disrespected. They call me this word. Scriptures say they're going to call you all types of words, and they've called you all types of words throughout history. They don't want to call you your true name. They just going to call you everything else but. That's how it is. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Let's talk about our people coveting. No matter how high they get in society, still is an issue. It may affect them even more because of where they are. 2 Samuel 11.
All right, we in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11, verse 2.
Like I said, we were in tabernacles. People were telling us that y'all are different. It's time to set ourselves apart. That fight amongst ourselves, that's gone. Because we either going to get help from other nations or we're going to get slaughtered by other nations. One or the other. And while we busy fighting, they busy surrounding. When we together, we are all watching. We are all talk and warn and edify. That's that togetherness. But they want us to be at odds as much as possible. I'm not talking about physical people. You can't call Joe, Bob, or Jim. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the spirits. When they know the day is approaching, things will ramp up. And as we've gotten closer to, especially this 7th month in that Hebrew calendar, it's for sure ramped up. Continuously. Even if you didn't go to tabernacle, if you didn't do the Day of Atonement, or you didn't do trumpets, in your daily lives, at your jobs, your families who aren't in the truth, everywhere you can possibly imagine has probably ticked up a little bit. Out of nowhere. Just like, what's going on? What did I do? I didn't feel like I changed. But the whole world's changing around me. Persecutions are increasing. And it's slight. It's just the annoying ones that keep you just enough that you won't focus completely on the Father. Just enough. Let me distract you in a way I know you're weak at. Oh, you got a weakness there? I'm going to make sure that's the problem for you the next 2-3 weeks. Because while you're doing that, something important is coming down the line, and you've been missing it. You think that when Christ cracked that sky, everybody's going to see it, but what about the time leading up to it when everybody's busy with life and fighting and whatever the events are going in the world, and then Christ cracked the sky, and you're like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I didn't expect it now. Thought it was going to be a big grand entrance.
Like the guy with the parable with the lamps, where the guy was
exactly.
I
got tomorrow. I can get my oil tomorrow. I can get tomorrow. I'm good. We're good. There's no way it's going to come. There's no way it's going to happen right now. No way. There he is. All right, all mine, come in. Up, shutting the door. But wait. Knock on the door all you want. He already made his count. 2 Samuel 11.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 11, verse 2. And it came to pass in the eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And
so this is David, right? The king of Israel, standing on a rooftop, seeing a woman from afar, very beautiful, washing herself. So, I'm pretty sure she's not washing fully clothed. And he had a decision to make. He could have just maybe just walk back in. But that's not what happened.
Nah. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, "Is not that Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?"
So, even though he saw this woman, now he was given the heads up. Oh yeah, this is Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, but she's the wife of Uriah. The commandment already what? He knows the commandments. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. That's a wife. He was looking, right? David had a choice right then and there. He could have stopped. That's not for me. At all. But what did David do?
And David sent the messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her. For she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house.
So David obviously didn't think about the Most High in this time, about the commandments that were, I'm pretty sure, all throughout the kingdom of Israel, what you shouldn't be doing, especially for somebody else's wife. But he sent messengers to her, took her, and used his status,
Yep.
I'm sure, to woo this woman. It's the king. It's the king. So you have a bunch of things going on. He coveted, of course, it's our neighbor's wife, but I'm pretty sure the pride that he could probably get her, somebody else's wife, and it's somebody, not just anybody, somebody he knows. Is this for sure Israel?
Yeah, it's definitely Israel. It's like a soap opera.
Soap opera, like any other.
Yep.
Keep going.
And a woman conceived and sent and told David and said, "I am with child."
Baby mama. All right. Keep going.
And David sent to Joab, saying, "Send me Uriah the Hittite." And Joab sent Uriah to David.
Mm-hmm.
And when Uriah was coming to him, David demanded of him how Joab did and how the people did and how the war was prospered.
So he's small talking him. What's going on with the war? You doing good? Everything good out there? Knowing he's looking this man in his eyes, lying to him the entire time. How's the war going, brother? Smile, nod, wave. How's the war prospering? Keep going.
Verse 8, and David said to Uriah, "Go down to thy house and wash thy feet." And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king.
Mm-hmm.
But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, Uriah went not down unto his house. David said to Uriah, "Camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down into thy house?"
So David thought this well out, I'm sure, in a wicked way for sure. So when he comes back, get him to go to his house. You know, he hadn't seen his wife for a while. Lay with her, you know, out of my hands. It's not mine.
Yep.
Smile on the face the whole time, right? Keep going.
And Uriah said unto David, "The ark in Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Should I then go into my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife?"
Uriah was a man of the Most High, for sure. About his father's business. Look, why would I go in my house when my brothers are out there fighting in a war? Why would I go out while they're encamped in the fields? And I go into my house and why would I do that? Doesn't make any sense. I'm supposed to be with my brothers. That's why he slept at the house instead of going to his wife's house, or him and his wife's house. Should I go to my own house and eat and drink and lie with my wife and do all these things? And my other brothers out there suffering and dying, they got families too. He thinking bigger. I'm one of the soldiers just like them. I'm nobody special. That's how any leader should be anyway. Ain't nobody special.
Right.
I'm just one like you. Keep going.
"As thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing." And David said to Uriah,
It just didn't feel right, right? Just didn't feel right to go do that. Keep going.
And David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow.
Mm-hmm.
And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at evening he went out to lie in his own bed with the servants of this Lord, but went not down to his house.
So when he went through all that, ate, drunk, he was like, all right, for sure going to go down there now, right?
Yeah.
Look, Uriah's like, look, I'm about the Father's business. I'm going to hang out. If we going to hang, I'm going to hang out with the fellas because, again, we're in the midst of a war. I'm up here enjoying myself. That's not what I'm about. He said, as long as my soul lives, I can't in my right mind do it. Keep going.
And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die.
So he knew that the plan, whatever little plan he had to fix this situation between himself, Bathsheba, and Uriah, and it wasn't working according to plan of getting Uriah to sleep with his wife so he could put the baby on him. So now that imagination did what? When that coveting of the wife did what? Now he's driving to send one of his best friends to die. Keep going.
And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah into a place where he knew that valiant men were.
Mm-hmm.
And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also.
And Uriah died also. So a small thing, just looking on another woman, being another woman, that's somebody else's wife, that you didn't stop when you had the chance to stop. At that point, it grew from coveting another man's wife to now it's blood in your hands, brother. That shows you throughout the scriptures that a small thing become a huge tree. A small seed can become a mountain of trouble. For sure, this is what David did. Let's go to 2 Samuel. We're hopping out to 26 now. Jumping to verse 26.
We at verse 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house.
So, he had a whole plan. He had a whole plan. He going to die. And when she's not being sad anymore, I'm going to just bring her in the house. That's crafty, but super deceitful.
Yeah.
And now it's just like something where you have a brother in battle with you, you can end their life just to have something he had. Keep going.
And she became his wife and bare him a son, but the thing that David had done displeased the Lord.
So we're going to jump to 2 Samuel chapter 12 to continue the story. Starting in verse 1.
And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. Mm-hmm. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said unto Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that had done this thing shall be surely die.
So it's funny because now he's kind of pulling the same story, what he just did right in front of him, but the circumstances caused him to have a different judgment, thought process. Keep going.
And what was it, verse 6?
Mm-hmm.
And he should restore the land fourfold, because he had did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
He said, thou That's you, bro. Do you know that parable? And that's when when you're not thinking in the spirit, you're thinking with your flesh. That's going to go right over your head. He was like, that don't sound like it's me at all. That brother need to restore everything. He should die. And all these things that righteous judgment would have had. But when it's him, it's a different story. Yep. Keep going.
Thus said the Lord power of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I will moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
So I gave you thy master's house. You gained so much being a little shepherd boy. As a man throughout the kingdom, but you gained thy master's house. You gained thy master's wives into thy bosom. I gave you the house of Israel and of Judah. And if it had been too little, I would have given you more if you needed more. But you had to go step outside the bounds of what you had already been promised. The Most High already promised something for you. That should have been enough. But you wanted more. Keep going.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
Mm-hmm.
Now therefore the sword should never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and thou hast taken the wife of Uriah.
So now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and thou hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Keep going.
Thus said the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will take thy wives before thy eyes, and give them to thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of his son.
Keep going.
For thou didst secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin, thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick.
So that child that he had bare with Uriah's wife wasn't going to remain. It was born in iniquity, born in sin. It was born in a way it should not have been. That should have never happened. But again, this is David transgressing the Most High's laws, knowing full well what the commandments say. And he's held by the same standards as everybody else. You're not out of that because you're a king or a leader or anything else. Keep going.
David thereof besought Ahiah for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died, and the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How would he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead.
All right, so let's go to James 4:1. That's story. So David, being a king with several wives, still was not satisfied. Got everything he could possibly need as a king of Israel. He saw a woman and lusted over her. This is just a summary. To the point his fleshly spirit overran him, and he committed adultery. He then proceeded to have an innocent man killed over the scandal and took his wife as his own. Even though David was alive and well, the sentence of death still came upon his house. Death still comes for those who covet. Whatever you covet, it may cost a life. Let's go to James 4.
All right, with the book of James, chapter 4, we go start at verse 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust, that war in your members?
So whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even of your lust, that war in your members? That's your body, your flesh. There's a war going on, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you had that self-conversation. I got to do better. What's wrong with me? Why am I screwed up? Why can't I stop? Why can't I slow down? Why can't I get that thought out my mind? Why? Your spirit and your flesh continually at war. Continually. That's what that war is and fight. And a lot of those things, when it happens on the outside, when you fight with somebody else, that's just all the spirits that are inside that you're fighting with and they're fighting with. Now coming for strife. Because a lot of times you're struggling with the same thing. But you don't get along because, again, it's spiritual warfare. Wrestle not against flesh and blood. So continually, you will be fighting amongst yourselves thinking like, oh, it's that person by name. It's got to be him, her, them. But not looking inwardly and saying you got a whole full-fledged war going on inside you. And you're pointing at other folks. We're really wasting time with that. The war's here, at home. We got to clear that vessel. Because once we clear that vessel, we'll be perfect, according to the Most High. But somebody else is trying to shack up in there. Continually shack up in there. No matter how much scripture you know, it's going to happen to the best of us. It just gets, the smarter you get, the smarter the spirits get. To the point where you think that, oh, I'm good. Nah. Now you got a college level professor spirit that fools you into thinking that you clean. And he's laughing. Like, look at him. Smug, high-minded. Has no idea what's inside him. What's inside her. That spirit's not playing. That's why we got to make sure we cover ourselves continually. We got that test out there in the rain. We got that test over this month. In all facets of life, you got tested, and you're continually going to get tested. He's trying to. He's just trying to get you ready for that final move, that translation to the next level. And you're all worthy of it because you're obviously here. He put you this path before you just not for no reason. You're here for a reason. There's a lot of folks out there that have no idea about this. That's the big secret. There's a lot of folks that have no idea about the information that you've already gained in your short span of being awoke, I would say. If you want to put in the scheme of the world, you're that 1%. Really. There's 1% compared to like the rest of the population that we have out there. And many more to gain, many more to find that out, but it's still a drop in the bucket as far as what we got here. Keep going, though. I'm sorry, brother.
You good. Verse 2, you lust and have not. You kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet you have not, because you ask not.
You lust and you have not. You kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not. Keep going.
Ye ask and receive not.
You ask and receive not.
Because you ask amiss.
Because you ask amiss. Because to be honest with you, a lot of times in life, especially when you come to the word and you're just like, look, I'm all about you, Father. Before you ask for it, it's already there. Already taken care of. You're not on a worry track of, oh, I hope it comes through. That stuff's provided. Sometimes those tests of, oh, well, I got this deadline I got to get and it's not going to make it, because he knows you still got something inside you that worries and you're not really fully thinking about him. You're concerned about what the world's doing or how they're going to perceive it and if it's going to work out. That worry, he says, you can't add anything to yourself by worrying. Who's in control? Who's in control here? Regardless what everybody else is doing, who's in control here? Ultimately in control, the Most High. 100%, 110, 120, 130%. Always in control. Don't nobody walk around here without orders from him. Keep going.
That ye may consume it upon your lust.
Mm-hmm.
Ye adulterers and ye adulteresses. Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Ahia?
Okay.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of the Most High.
All right.
Do ye think that the scripture said in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lust to envy?
Uh-huh.
But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he said, How he resisted the proud, but
Where
give
he said, right, the Most High resisteth the proud, but did what?
but giveth grace unto the humble.
But giveth grace unto the humble, because you can receive. You won't have a preconceived notion of what you think stuff is. You're an open book directly to him. So all wars are fought based on someone's covetousness in this world. We are not to be as the world. So as we read in David, he was a righteous man, but even though the Most High gave him grace, allowed him to live, he was still chastised accordingly. So it doesn't mean you're not going to go through some stuff. It's not going to be a perfect smooth road. Because even though you think you know you, Most High know you better. And if it was up to you, you wouldn't go through anything. Because you think, you know what? I think I'll be okay with a small tap. Most High's like, nah, brother, sister, I need you. And the only way to get you there is I'm going to have to smack you. You're going to have to get it. Just a bit. I'm going to keep your life, but you're going to have to get it. And it was something that you wouldn't prescribe. Like, I wouldn't put myself through that. Of course, you being you, you're not going to allow that to happen to yourself. But he knows you even better, and that's where I got to, where I realized that somebody knows me better than I know me. Let's go to 1 Kings 21. Let's go to another one. Let's go to another story about coveting. A story that you'll know the names when they come. Somebody had a question about that earlier today. And I was like, oh, don't worry, it's in there.
It's funny the scripture said that because all the wars is about coveting. Think about America. When they want something, they do. With a country, or the country has something they coveted, what they do? They'll kill to get it. Yep. They'll hire you to join the military, right? And you go there and risk your life for something that they want. Oil, land, or whatever. You over there dying for something. My thing is, look, if you want it, you two fight for it. I'm not dying for it. You want that oil, you two get in the ring and fight each other.
Take your senators with your kings and fight your other president from some other country in the Middle East, and y'all go in the ring and punch it out.
And punch it out.
Why does everybody else gotta be involved?
Right.
Why do I gotta be involved? Because you got a fight with Iran.
Yeah.
You want to fight Iran? You get in the ring with Iran's president, and y'all box it out. Yeah. And if you get knocked out, we lost.
We lost. Exactly. Anybody can talk tough behind the podium. You can talk tough behind the podium, but get out there and fight.
You'll learn words mean a lot to the Most High, but in the end, your actions mean a lot more. So if you want to say words, even as deacons, we learn, like, it's people that still want to say a lot of stuff. Well, we hear you. We need the legs behind your words. Because then if we're just going off hearsay all the time, we're going to be pointing in the right direction a lot of times. We're going to always go in the wrong direction. Like, what he said he was going to do it didn't happen. Faith without works is dead. Faith is to speak it. Works is the actions. Those two work together. Without the other half, it's dead. Flatline. Mm-hmm. Need them both. We're at 1 Kings 21. This is another story about coveting. Again, for those who came in earlier, coveting. Desire, lust, to have, to want. That's coveting.
All right, we at 1 Kings 21, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth, the Jezreelite, had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, the king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth.
So again, you have Naboth just to set the stage here. You got Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, right, which was in Jezreel, hard by the place of Ahab, king of Samaria. So it was close by, right there. All right, keep going.
Verse 2, Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, give me that vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for the better vineyard than it.
Okay.
Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money.
So again, the king of Samaria asked Naboth, hey, can I have that field, because it's right there. I want to have a garden of herbs, it's right near my house. I'll give you a better vineyard, better than what you got here, or I'll pay you whatever you want for it. Let me know. Keep on.
And Naboth said said to Ahab, "The Lord forbid it to me."
So did he even say like, all right, well, I don't want to do it? He said the Most High forbid it to me. Because what? Keep going.
"That I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee."
This is not just any vineyard. This isn't something he just purchased. This is an inheritance of his people, his ancestors, handed down, I'm sure, many years. And it was nobody down the line had thought about selling off this vineyard outside the family. So this was given as an inheritance. That's like us, we're being in the land of Israel, and somebody coming by and say, hey, it's in a prime spot to be able to get to Europe and South, and Middle East and Africa. Why don't y'all just move? We give you all the money for it.
You know what that sound like? Gentrification.
Does it? Doesn't it?
Yeah, hey, come here. We give you this money. You can take this area.
Mm-hmm.
Sound like gentrification.
Keep going.
And Ahab came unto his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite has spoken to him. For he has said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread.
So you got to think about it. This is the king Ahab, the king of Samaria. He had a bunch of stuff, I'm sure. He had many things he could have got. A vineyard he could have had all over the place. He had servants, a house, more than I'm pretty sure that Poor both had. But he came in the house broke. Like, I mean, it's just like a rich person for real. When they feel like they hadn't get something, like it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. Like, they're so used to be able to get everything they want or their position of power. He was in the house heavy, displeased. He didn't even want to eat dinner. All this over a vineyard, brother? Come on. Grow up.
Right.
But this is when small things, it seemed like a small matter can grow into a mountain quickly. Keep going.
Verse 5, but Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him,
What's her name again?
Jezebel.
But Jezebel, his wife, this is a word we hear a lot, and we got a lot of worldly ways of thinking what this actually means when he's talking about Jezebel and her actions. Jezebel spirit, Jezebel this, that, and the other. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said what?
Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard.
So he gave her the whole story, part of the story. So Naboth wouldn't give him his vineyard. Yeah, I tried to give him money. He said he wouldn't give it to me. I told him I'd give him another vineyard. He said, nah, I'm not going to give you my vineyard. But did he even mention about that this was his people's vineyard, how important it was to him? So he's all broken up just because of the vineyard. Here's Jezebel's response. What'd she say?
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, doest thou now govern the kingdom of Israel?
Here we go. Let's push my husband up a little bit. Don't you govern the kingdom of Israel?
Yeah.
You up here crying over some vineyard? Look, I'm basically a queen here. We get everything we want.
Yep.
You can have anything you want, husband. Keep going.
Arise and eat the bread, and let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite.
So say, arise. Don't be sad. Be merry. Don't worry. I'll take care of this vineyard that you need. I'll make sure it happens. Don't worry. And he's looking like, oh, maybe she's going to sweet talk him. I don't know. All right. Maybe she's going to sweet talk him. Okay. Right? But this is when, again, that covenanting spirit to have things takes a turn to something darker. Keep going.
So she wrote letters in Ahab's name.
So she started to write letters in Ahab's name. So her husband wrote them in his name, like forging checks, right? Wrote letters in Ahab's name and what?
And sealed them with his seal.
All right, used his seal, his official seal.
And sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city dwelling with Naboth.
Okay, keep going.
And she wrote in the letters saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people.
And she wrote the letters and saying, proclaim a fast from the king and set Naboth, this is the brother who won't give up his vineyard, on high among the people. All right, set him in charge. All right, keep going.
and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme the Most High and the king. And then carry him out and stone him that he may die.
She had a whole plan for that. Like, we'll get him out the way. He won't get that vineyard, it's going to cost him his life. That's like, sound like some Street King stuff right there. Like, oh, they don't want to walk off the block? That's street sweep them. Clear the whole block off. It'll be ours. Keep going.
And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were in the inhabitants of his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast and set the both on a high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against them, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme Ahiah and the king.
They're bearing false witness left and right. Look how many transgressions that are happening now. Costing somebody their life, something that didn't even happen. Just made up stories. Because of what? Their imagination grows from coveting. The imaginations grow. All of a sudden, though, this is what's going to happen, I guess. We just put that on his name because he ain't did anything wrong. Let's blame him for something. Get him out of here. Happens over and over again, to this day. To this day. When they can't find fault, let's make something up. Keep going.
Did they carry him forth out of the city and stone him with stones that he died? Did they send to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead?
I'm pretty sure they sent that letter back to the king, but she got the mail, right? She got the mail key. Like, okay. Well, that problem's out the way. Feeling probably real good about herself. The whole time, I don't even know if Ahab even know what's going on. But keep going.
And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, to take possession of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah, the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab the king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone now to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick the blood even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O my enemy?
So Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? He, in his spirit, even with all the wickedness he was doing, he knew the car was about to get pulled on this. Keep going.
And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord.
And it's crazy. But I'm just thinking, like, if it's spirits talking to each other, the spirit that's in Ahab talking about the spirit of the Most High within Elijah. Say, have you found me, O enemy? Have you found me? Who says that? Unless somebody's trying to do something in the dark. The spirit's always working. Keep going.
Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and I will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel.
Right.
And I will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dog should eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel.
So she didn't get out of this. The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall. 'Cause look, the Most High sees everything. Nothing done in the dark can be hidden. It always comes to light. 110% of the time. The Most High will always set things right. Keep going.
Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dog shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up.
So Ahab and Jezebel had arranged for a setup to bear false witness against them both. Not only that, but this was all done as a direct result of Ahab coveting his neighbor's field. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's. All those things come into play. Death occurred as a result. And a curse was placed on Ahab's future male descendants that they would die and be cut off from the existence in Israel. Jezebel also died a horrible death as a result of the actions of coveting the both possessions. The covetous spirit was at the core of the wickedness that was done. Let's go to Micah 2. Micah 2:1. That covetous spirit, it's like a second fiddle sometimes of pride. And you don't realize it's really a problem. But for sure, coveting on all levels will not be tolerated by the Most High. Micah 2:1.
Everybody there? All right, with the book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity.
So woe to them that devise iniquity. Keep going.
And work evil upon their beds.
Mm-hmm.
When the morning is light, they practice it, because it's the power of the hand. If they covet fields.
And they covet fields.
And take them by violence.
That sounds familiar to a country. They covet fields and take them by violence. And what?
And houses.
And houses. And what?
And take them away.
Right.
So that they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage.
So that they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. Keep going.
Therefore, thus said the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil from which ye shall not remove from your necks. Neither shall you go hardly, for this time is evil.
For this time is evil. Let's go to Hebrews 13:5. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, coveting fields, taking houses by violence, or undermining, taking whole houses. This don't gotta be a home. This could be a people. It says, woe, what? Jeremiah 23, woe to the pastors that leave my sheep astray.
Yep.
The house of Israel. You can do a whole lot of things when covenant is involved. It is such a wicked spirit. Hebrews 13.
We read the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness.
Let your conversations be without covetousness. Right? Keep going.
And be content with such things as ye are have.
And that's the problem. It says, be content with such things as ye have. Because, yeah, we're all striving to get to the kingdom. We're all striving to be one with the Most High, heart, mind, and spirit. But that desire that you have to want more could very well be from a place you don't want it to be from. So let your conversation be without covetousness and be content with such thing as ye have. But what else?
For he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee.
I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Keep going. So that
we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me.
So if we rely solely on the Father, we will have confidence when we are in adversity that he will help us in times of trouble. Covetousness brings thoughts of doubt because it is fleshly. And you can't conceive in your mind how you will sustain because you think in a worldly way of how to obtain what you desire. That's what it comes down to. When you covet, you doubt. Because you don't trust the Most High to do it. A lot of times we put ourselves in front. And then when it gets real bad, now we bring the Most High in. Oh, let me pray about it now. We used to do that in the world all the time. Even folks who don't go to the Word or go to church, they wait till it's the worst possible time, and then let's start praying. Let's start praying now. That should be your first option. He already knows what you need before you ask for it. Then, again, that comes to a point where you're already getting the stuff before you ask for it. Oh, I didn't even know I needed that. Thank you, Father. You don't have a worry. you'll be seen as a madman on the outside, to be honest with you, because you'll be calm in the midst of destruction and haste and time. You won't make haste in the time of trouble. All those things will apply to you. Like this brother just don't move. Like, do you care about anything? Yeah, pleasing the Father, being one with the Son, our Savior, making sure the Holy Spirit dwelling with me. The rest of it, if somebody want me dead, if it's not the Most High, it ain't happening. If somebody want me gone somewhere, wherever, guess what? The Father don't want it, ain't happening. Mm-hmm. It's been proven too many times throughout our lives, everyone's lives, I'm sure at this point. You're just like, well, I covered. He's going to take care. Do my part. I have to do my part. Mm-hmm. Let's go to 1 Timothy 6 and 4. 1 Timothy 6 and 4. No need to worry. He's always there. He knows 110% of the things you need before you even ask for it. No need to worry. Sometimes you got to remind folks, who's in control here? You not. Most High is. This is all his. He is the creator.
All right, read 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 4. He is proud, knowing nothing.
He is proud, knowing nothing.
But doting about questions and strifes of words.
But doting about questions and strifes of words. Yeah, keep going.
Whereof coming envy, strife,
railings, evil surmisings. Right, keep going.
Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds.
All right.
And destitute of the truth.
Yep.
Supposing that gain is godliness, from such withdraw thyself. But godliness with contentment is great gain.
But godliness with contentment is great gain. Content where you at. Content what's been put in front of you. Content in what you've been given. What you're responsible for. Until the Most High says, oh, I need you to do more. Or I'll take this away. I need you to do something less. It's up to him. But godliness, because look, this is telling you right front center. Complaining in itself, you just told the Most High you don't trust anything he got to say. You a complainer, then your God is not the Most High. Because I'm pretty sure there was one being that complained about how order was set up before. And he fell. So then who ends up being your God if you're following those things? Mm-hmm. Who's your king then? It ain't the Most High. You're following your father, the devil, if that's who you hold fast to. So, but godliness with contentment is great gain. What else?
For we brought nothing into this world.
For we came out here naked. We brought nothing into this world, right? And what else?
And it's certain we can't carry nothing out.
And it's for certain. You can be buried with whatever you want because the grave robbers are going to get it. You can't take it with you. You can, for certain, we can carry nothing out. Keep going.
I never see a Brinks truck next to a car.
All right. People done tried it too. Try to bury with their money. Yeah, go for it. People just waiting for that dirt to set and everybody move out.
Yeah.
Play that game if you want. Keep going.
And having food and raiment, let us be there with content.
It didn't even say shelter here. It said food and raiment because Christ didn't have a place to lay his head. So with food, eating, and with clothes, be content. The plus is that you got a place to live. These brothers and sisters that you see out here homeless, and you try to help them. A lot of them say, thank you for the money. You try to help, they're good. They won't, in a way you're like, how can you be okay with this? But with food, they're eating every day. I've seen homeless people that's been like big. They eating for sure.
You see a slim homeless person, they eating good.
You don't. They really getting it in. Not saying that's the ideal situation. Just saying with food, having food and raiment, let us be there with content. Read this early on before I even found Gathering of Christ Church. Read this early on. How should I be, when I pray and thanking the Most High, what should I be thankful for? Food and raiment. Just to be able to eat and have clothes on my back. That's all I ask. The house is a bonus. I don't have to be here. I've laid on other people's floors before. Look, that's not part of the deal. Part of the deal, food and raiment. Be content. Keep going.
But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare.
And they that will be rich, and nothing wrong with being rich, but the temptation that comes with it. And a snare, keep going.
And it's a many foolish and hurtful lust, which drown men in destruction and perdition.
Sometimes he holds us in a place to keep us from our own selves. Because a lot of folks will say, yeah, I don't know, if I win a lottery, I'll give it to the church. Huh? You say it with your mouth. Let $250 million land into your account. Would you not be buying the car of your dreams? Will you not probably buy the house of your dreams? Will you say, hey, the Most High blessed me, and maybe it's like, I don't need to do this anymore. Most High, he knows what your heart is. He knows where it'll take you. Like, nothing wrong with the nice stuff, but is it your heart going to be gone from me? And that's your God. Where are you with that? So, but they that are rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Keep going.
For the love of money.
They didn't say money, right? It said for the what?
The love of money.
For the love of money is what?
Is the root of all evil.
Right.
Which while some coveted after. They have erred from the faith. And had pierced themselves with many sorrows.
Again, that's something that even the news is now pulling the cards of all the pastors out there that's doing it just for cash. And just even if you don't even think about that, think about like any of the other folks who started religions recently. I'm talking about the new ones like the Scientology and all those others. There are quotes that even say, you want to be a rich man? Start a religion. I think the brother who started Scientology said that.
Yep.
Who had their headquarters down in Florida.
Yep.
They said, you don't go into any of these businesses and all these other. Do you want to have ultimate power and be rich? They figured it out. It was the power of whatever doctrine they want to bring out. And if you got enough people to believe it, you'll be set for life.
Because you can't own up a hot dog stand without paying taxes. But
Nope.
you own up a church, don't pay no taxes. That should say something.
That should
So
tell you
all
something.
the money made on books and stuff in these churches, tax free.
All the Apple computer folks, all the people who work at Google, they all got to pay taxes. They all under that thumb still. But the tax-free club?
Imagine what they make it every week. Three Sundays, 3 Sunday services, plus Bible study. And we're not talking about revival. So can you imagine what they bringing in?
And we're not just talking about the Sunday church. You got the Buddhists.
Yeah, them too, all the religions.
Islam.
Right.
Yoga. I think the UK has Star Wars now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, they got a Jedi religion now. Yep.
You sure do.
Yep. Lightsabers and cloaks and all.
Yep.
It's like the 4th largest religion in the UK now.
Yep.
Like the 4th. So Christianity, Muslims, probably Hindu or Buddhism. And then you got the Jedi religion.
Yeah, hip-hop religion too.
Hip-hop religion, yeah.
They got a church of Beyonce.
Church of Beyonce? Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
So
it is.
we're saying all that in First Timothy. So there are many, even in the understanding of being Israel, who are not content with having food to eat and clothes on their backs. There are also those in the truth who went back to the world based off of this covetousness. So let's go to Philippians 4:11. You see that breaking away. Folks go right back into the world after understanding all they understood, gained all that knowledge. Seeing that on all levels now. For that love of money is the root of all evil. Some coveted after they erred from the faith. For sure issue. Philippians 4.
All right, the book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. Not that I speak in respect of wants, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
So not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Whatever situation you are presently, be okay with it. As far as like your food and raiment and objects. Be okay with it. again, when the Most High knows you better than you know yourself, there's a reason. If you think of the Most High, again, as a loving power, he's not going to put his children in a bad situation. So if you have a child you have born and he has a weed problem or a cocaine problem, and he's like, Dad, Mom, can I get some money to go out? I'm just going to hang out. And you know that's the issue. And you know he has no car to get around and he has no other way to get money. Will you give him that, knowing that's where he's going? Or will you seek help for him? Say, no, let's do something else. Let's go out to the park. Let's go-karting. Let's do something else. Hang out with me. Most High's going to keep you close. At the same time, he's not going to put you in a position to fail. We put ourselves in a position to fail. So through those highs and lows, learn to be content with where you are and just continue to pray. Continue to pray. If there's stuff that you need, trust me, he's maybe looking at your heart like, why are you asking for it? I would have given it to you if you weren't in this space right here. Where is your heart at? If you weren't necessarily coveting, I would have given it to you a long time ago, but that would have if I gave you that, it would have destroyed you, brother, sister. I'm trying to keep you alive so you can make it to the kingdom, not damn you to hell, damn you to torment. Most High is he's the God of life, not death. So he's going to try to get as many of us in as possible. We take ourselves out of the book of life. He's going to give you everything in front of you to be successful. He's going to give you every answer to the test that you need. If you choose not to study and show thyself approved, that's on you. We're going to Luke 4.
Verse 12.
Okay, verse 12.
I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
All right, so let's go to Luke 3 and 11. Luke 3 and 11. In all things I am instructed to be both full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. Sounds like he's going two places at once, but no. Yearn to be with the Father. Love the Most High with your heart, soul, and mind. But also be content on the earthly side. So you hunger after the spiritual, you're full and content with the worldly. So that you don't need more that you actually have. If it's given to you, then it's given to you. If it's not, it's not. Either way, you're fine. That's that answer. I'm good either way. And when you're in that space, it's tough to tempt you at that point. I don't even know. I mean, the fact that you're not giving the spirits every little piece of yourself through your mouth. And that's another lesson in itself, the power of your tongue. But not giving that entranceway to the spirits to know how you think and how you feeling. If you're content, then they can't tempt you with stuff that you don't even want. They'll try. But they're marking it down to you like, oh, he didn't really care about that. He didn't really care about that either. He didn't really care about that. I don't know what works on him anymore. Then life becomes a little bit more peaceful. You don't have them. Don't worry, they go away. It gets real peaceful. It really does. You get, long spurts of peace. You'll get, and then after a while, they say, you know what? We can pass around them for long enough. Let's go and attack again and see if it works. And that's when that old man pops back up. Because you thought, all right, boy, that part's over. I guess I'm good. And like, nah, I was with you when you were 8 years old. I was with you when you were 16. I was with you when you were 21. You were doing the worldly things. I know you. I guess I thought I know you, but I'm going to try it again. You'll get tried again. Same gates that you think were over. But if you're content, you humble, it's going to try you less and less. Let's go Luke 3 and 11.
With the book of Luke, chapter 3, verse 11. He answered and said unto them, he that had 2 coats, let him impart to him that had none, and he that had meat, let him do likewise.
Mm-hmm.
There came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do?
So then came also publicans to be baptized, and he said, Master, what shall we do? Keep on.
And he said unto them, exact no more than that which is appointed unto you.
He said unto them, exact no more that which has been appointed to you. You don't need more than what you already got. Keep going.
And the soldiers likewise demanded him, saying,
Uh-huh.
and what shall we do?
And what shall we do? And he said what?
And he said unto them, do violence to no man.
Okay.
Neither accuse any falsely.
Neither accuse any falsely. Because, I mean, an accusation, you're leaving a lot of room for error. If you weren't there to actually witness it, and you're hearing it on the side, guess what? You could be bearing false witness. Well, you're bearing false witness, but then it's accusing falsely. That's not even the truth. Not remotely. It says, do no violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, but what?
And be content with your wages.
This is Christ. Christ told the soldiers to be content with what they were getting paid to work, basically. Many, even when they had more than enough, lose sight of the Most High and chase the dollars, and it all comes down to making money. They even make claims that they will put the money to a worthy cause, but never do. Again, if I get this money, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Wordplay. That goes out of the window. After a while, you're just like, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. Now work, brother, sister. I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. Actions, brother, sister. Let's get there. Once you get some actions behind those words, no problem. No problem. But even Christ is putting this out there. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 12. 1 Corinthians 12. All about being content. It's crazy. As a young child, even listening to my grandfather speak, you know, he rested, he's moved on. He would say, Aaron, and whatever you do, just be content in what you want. Content in where you live, and content in what you're doing. Just be content. Never even considering that this was coming out the scriptures back then. And I'm talking about this is 6, 7, 8 years old. Yeah. I'm not even understanding what he's talking about. Sit me on his knee, just be content. Life's a lot easier that way. I realized that's exactly how he was living. And he definitely, while he had trials just like anybody else, life was peaceful. Life was peaceful. Be content. 1 Corinthians 12.
Read the book 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 25.
This is a big one. It's crazy because I think we read in Corinthians a lot, but a lot of times we don't even touch this one. Mm-hmm. But this is that Pope coveting portion and being content. This speaks volumes. Keep going.
That there should be no schism in the body.
That there should be no schism in the body. Right? Keep going.
But that the members shall have the same care one for another.
There shouldn't be any different levels of care. I care more for you than I care for. It happens because we're brand new to this. Right? You're going to get attached to certain folks. But when it's all said and done and we have like a tabernacle situation for like 3 years, and we're out there all together by ourselves, having to govern ourselves, can you think of somebody less than the next? When every little person within that group, be it children to adult to elder, got a job. And if one fails, it could cost the entire village, wherever we are. Let there be not one schism in the body, right? And let the members have that same care one for another. What else?
And when one member suffer.
And when the one member suffer, just one member suffers. Keep going.
All the members suffer with it.
All the members suffer with it. Now, there's brothers and sisters that won't tell you what's going on, but then you don't realize you've been going through some issues yourself. And then when you talk to him, he was going through that and you were going through that. And you were suffering the same because, again, y'all all baptized, same mind, same body, same baptism. Or one mind, one body, one baptism. All together. And as one has an issue, all. Where the one member suffer, it's just like a body part. When you have pain one place, it messes everything up. You're focused on it. You just feel it. Doesn't feel right. When one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. Or what?
Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it.
When something good's happening, we're all happy for that. Or supposed to be. Keep going.
Now ye are the body of Christ, and members in particular.
Now ye are the body of Christ and members in particular. Keep going.
And Ahiah has set some in the church. First apostles,
Uh-huh.
secondarily prophets,
Secondarily prophets, okay.
thirdly teachers,
Thirdly teachers, okay.
after that miracles,
After that, miracles, all right.
the gifts of healing,
Then gifts of healing,
helps,
helps,
governments,
governments,
diversities of tongues.
diversity of tongues. So the Most High have set up some in the church. First apostles, regardless of what they want and do, that's what they're going to do because the Most High wanted it. First apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, and diversity of tongues. But what does it say about members of a body? Next verse.
Are all apostles?
Are all apostles? No. That's it. You can't have like 15 heads, 50 heads. Because everybody's going to have a different thought process of how things should go. And eventually it becomes your own flesh and what you want, not what the Most High wants. Are all apostles what?
Are all prophets?
Are all prophets?
Are all teachers?
Are all teachers? You can't have 75 teachers. Because everybody does. We all have different styles here. Right? And we have our own families as well at home. You don't got to stand in front of a camera or sit in front of a pulpit to be a teacher. There's a whole home for you to do. There's a whole family that may not know this truth. Even if you're a single man or woman, you have a family, I'm sure, that could be hearing this in some capacity. There's times to let people know about things then. But are all teachers? What else?
Are all workers of miracles?
Are all workers of miracles? He's telling you, look, everybody's got their spot. Either you want it or not. Throughout the scriptures, it always seems to be the way that the brothers or sisters are thrust into the role. Because the Most High's will on things. But are all apostles, are all prophets, are all teachers, are all workers of miracles? Keep going.
Have all the gifts of healing?
Do all have all the gifts of healing? Keep going.
Do all speak with tongues?
Mhm.
Do all interpret?
Right.
But covet earnestly the best gifts.
But covet earnestly the best gifts. And what?
And yet show I unto you a more excellent way.
So Paul was saying that all parts of the church are important, but desire to have the better gifts like being able to edify people. You covet in a righteous manner and desire to obtain that which the Father has for those who diligently seek him. Let's go to Romans 7. Whatever your gifts is, you have it. You see it. That's what you use. But something that's outside your lane will get you hit by a car spiritually. So stay in the lane. Romans 7.
We wrote 7 verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
So what shall we say then? Is the law sin?
Ahiah forbid.
Ahiah forbid.
Nay, I have not known sin but by the law. For I have not known lust, except the law has said, thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not what?
Covet.
Thou shalt not covet. So what shall I say then? Is the law sin? Ahiah forbid. Nay. Had I not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. Keep going.
But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence.
Mhm.
For without the law, sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I have found to be unto death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me.
For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me. And what?
And by it slew me.
So Paul was letting us know it was by the law that he knew that lust was sinful. He then let us know that by the law of sin, he had all kinds of wicked thoughts. Therefore, when the sinful man arises in our flesh, we must step back from it and not partake in its wickedness, because it is the end when it comes to death. Let's go to Romans 13. That old man comes down, that small little seed that's been buried will grow. When sin is finished, bring forth death.
All right, read the book of Romans 13:8. Owe no man anything but to love one another.
Owe no man anything but to love one another. Keep going.
For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law.
For he that hath loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Keep going.
For this, thou shalt not commit adultery.
For this, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Yep.
Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet.
If there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfiller of the law.
So we must love in deed, not just word. And in the end, overcome our lust helps us to better love others as the scriptures define what love is. This coveting spirit, again, will sneak up on you if you're not careful and you think that it's not involved in your life. It could possibly very well be. So it's time to analyze ourselves as people of the Most High, what we have going on here. Because for us to grow and move forward, we got to start at the seed first and make sure our seed is a good seed, not a bad seed. So we got to finish strong and put down all manners of this covetousness that is in the world, because it is of the world. So we bless you and shalom.